You know that the crime issue is hurting Biden when his former White House comms director is beginning to sound worried.
People are feeling frightened. I don't subscribe to the Trump vision of America as a decaying wasteland where, packs of people are running wild, committing crime. But it is true that people across the country, particularly in cities, are concerned about crime. It is smart for Democrats to be more aggressive about it, to be more responsive to what people are feeling.
One problem, their view of being responsive is celebrating the Soros prosecutors who are keeping criminals on the streets.
Having progressive prosecutors, for example, who can show what is possible and then show that it works and show that, frankly, it's not contrary at all to public safety. In fact, it is a better way. It is a very effective way, among other ways, to achieve public safety.
Right. She just said the word way too often. But I guess, Kamala, if this is what qualifies as better for public safety, yeah, remember now, those illegals who were arrested in that brutal attack against NYPD officers were freed without bail. Creative law enforcement. I guess DA Bragg can brag about that. And does being aggressive on crime include what DA George Gascon did in L.A.? He gave probation to a man convicted of attempted murder, and that guy went on to kill 3 women. And is Kamala-style justice what we saw in Austin, Texas, where DA Jose Garza gave a plea deal to a woman convicted in a murder-for-hire plot against her husband's parents? Her father-in-law was killed, but her mother-in-law survived. Jocelyn Alexa Edison was given 10 years probation. No prison time. Joining me now, Tulsi Gabbard, Fox News contributor, author of the upcoming book, For Love of Country. Tulsi, how is your former party going to spin their way out of this mess? You heard what Kamala said. She sounded frighteningly ignorant, especially on this issue where so many lives have been lost needlessly because of these policies.
Yeah, Laura, you hit it right on the head there. You see how Kamala Harris and so many other people in the Democrat elite, not only at the federal level, but at the state level and in some of these cities, are so grossly out of touch with reality and lacking basic common sense that the vast majority of Americans have. We know that if you let criminals run free on the streets, there will be more crime. Their lack of common sense and inability to listen and actually see what's going on in our communities is leading to such incredibly dangerous consequences. They're sitting in their ivory towers while people like Miss Riley are being murdered by a guy who was apprehended when he illegally came into our country and then let free, was arrested shortly thereafter, and then let free. If our laws had been enforced in both of those cases, Miss Riley would be alive with her loved ones today. You pointed to the example of New York City's DA Alvin Bragg, who said when he first entered office that he wouldn't prosecute crimes against even some very violent criminals, and yet he is choosing to pursue these political hit jobs against President Donald Trump and to continue to allow our laws to be broken and the people of his city having to live in fear of walking down the street in broad daylight.
Well, when you listen to the former White House comms director, she did kind of sound the alarm. They know it's hurting them. But she said, well, I don't subscribe to this idea there are roving bands of criminals. And I'm thinking to myself, has she not seen the video? Just that last night we played that horrific video out of Vallejo, California, where they have this thing called a sideshow. And these people attack this man in his truck, just a guy trying to, go about his business. He runs out of his truck. They follow him into a convenience store. They beat him up there. Then they loot the convenience store. As police, a few police officers are trying to, arrive at the scene. That was just one little community, okay? And these people are, oh, we don't see things like that. We never see that. Well, what are we seeing on the screen right now?
Exactly.
With impunity, by the way.
Or
theft with impunity.
Completely brazen crime happening and no consequences, which is why they keep doing it over and over and over again. When you listen to Biden's former communications director and her comments, she did not at all acknowledge how great of a problem this is in our country. And she did not say, hey, Democrats need to step up and actually solve this problem, enforce our laws, get these criminals off the street. She's talking about how do Democrats win more votes? They can win more votes by making it look like they care about this problem without actually doing anything about it. So even though she is recognizing that people are seeing how terrible the Democrat elite are on actually keeping our communities safe, she, like Kamala Harris and all these other people, they're not actually interested in solving problems. All they care about is votes and how they can stay in their ivory tower of power.
Yeah, well, they're going to try to get more help from Mark Zuckerberg and all their election integrity projects and mail-in ballots.
Wherever
Tulsi,
they can get it.
Yeah, wherever they can get them. Tulsi, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.